Hey, everybody. You know, I want to talk about something, and this is a message to somebody, and I think they know who they are. And that's Ezekiel 3000, or Amir Kennedy, if you will. Now, Ezekiel, you keep bringing up the whole high in at the end of 229. Now, I do agree. I do agree that it does show hope. I do get that. I understand that. I understand where you're coming from. That it shows hope. It does this. It does that. I get that, and that's fine. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But every time somebody tries to bring up, something, you always counter with that. And again, I understand, just like probably anybody else understands. It does mean something. It's a meaning of hope. But here's what I think a lot of people are about. And I think you're failing to understand this. It's nothing's wrong with that whole High Sally moment. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you're failing to understand is what you're failing to understand is in the eyes of some, and we're not talking just the anti-groups anyway. We're talking about fans in general. Why would you do something like that, and then all of a sudden, do something else that doesn't make any sense? In other words, why do a whole High Sally moment and then all of a sudden have her roboticized? Again, I know you're going to argue that and said it helped redeem her from everything that's occurred, from all the writers that basically screwed her up as a character. I get that too. But you see, I think that's what kind of makes people's blood boil. It's like they understand where you're coming from, but to them it just doesn't make sense. It's like, why even do a High Sally moment only to have her sacrifice herself, and for the next 16 and a half issues have her be nothing more than a weaponized sub-commander, if you will, of Eggman's that basically doesn't really do anything except rinse and repeat of attack village, fight former friends, leave. You just, it basically, to me, it's more along the lines of, I'm sure a lot of people understand where you're coming from with everything you point out, the High Sally, the sacrifice and all that, but it's more like, why even do a High Sal moment when you're going to do that? I think that's what bugs them. I think that's what really bugs them. And they... I mean, even I can't think of anything to say here, because it's like, yeah, it's a good moment. It's a moment of hope and all that. But it's like, all of a sudden to them, the writer turns around and does what he does with Sally. And then for the next 16 and a half issues doesn't really do nothing with the character except weaponize her, make her a sub-commander, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I guess what people are trying to say is, what was the point? What was the real point of doing that if you're not going to follow through on it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what was the real point? And I'm not trying to discount the meanings behind both situations. I'm not. I think they were great. But it's more along the lines of, I'm just thinking you need to stop countering with this. You need to stop countering with this, and you need to kind of understand what fans are trying to point out. It's like, it's nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong with the whole High Sal moment. There's nothing wrong with her sacrifice. It's more along the lines of the way it was done. And what came afterwards didn't make sense to them. And that's why they get upset when people like you defend Ian. And with all due respect to Ian, he's a good writer. He's done some great stuff. I'm not going to deny that. But the thing is, you keep countering this. You keep countering what people are saying with these moments, and yet to them, it doesn't make any sense. Like, what is the point behind the moments if there was no real follow through? I mean, yeah, you had Sonic trying to save her, but in the eyes of many, if he was trying to save her, he would have done it just like that. It's like if the mandate is for Sonic to always win, he would have gotten Sally back in a few issues just like that. But that didn't happen. And again, I think that's what gets fans upset. It's because people like you, with all due respect, don't understand. It's not that they have anything against the high Sal moment. They have nothing against the sacrifice. It's just the way it was done. And I think that's what bugs them the most. That's what bugs them the most, because people like you, with all due respect, are not understanding where they're coming from. So what I'm going to ask of you, with all due respect, because you have a right to your opinions, I have a right to my own, everybody does. But what I want to ask of you is either on DeviantArt, on any of the message boards, or right here on YouTube, I want you to respond by kind of taking time to look at it from the perspective of those you say hate Ian Flynn or disdain Ian Flynn. I want you to look at it from their perspective and at least kind of give a unbiased opinion on some of the things they said. Not biased, not argumentative, just some unbiased opinions. With a, kind of give us an idea of what you do agree with and what you don't agree with and why you agree with this and why you don't agree with that. That's all I think anybody like myself and anybody else would ask. So that's all I'm going to say, Ezekiel. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to your response. With all due respect, please do one. I mean, I've done ones like I'm doing to you, like I'm doing one for you now. I've done some in the past. Several others have. Please, with all due respect, we would all appreciate if you would do one. So take care, God bless, and I'm out.